Hey guys, what's up? It's Simon here with the Card Guys coming at you with a new deck profile for a deck that I feel is currently very underrepresented in the current meta. We'll be having a video go up on our profile either before or after this about what we feel about the current meta, where different decks stand, but Green Gotenks is something that has been currently underrated in my opinion by the community, especially after the Set 10 PP or Set 11 PPG release tournament where it was over represented and highly dominated the format. It's gotten a couple of new tools since then, and the meta's evolved a little bit with Mecha and the introduction of set 13 archetypes, but let's just take a look at what's going in. So first of all, we have the core Unison package for the deck. We have the 4 S's, 3 Vegito Peerless Warrior, and the 2 Golden Frieza Unison of Malice. Most people that play this deck will tell you that you want to find a Unison on turn 2 so you can achieve your leader's alternate awakening condition. When you have a Unison with a specified cost of 2 in play, you can awaken and then add cards from your life to your hand until you're at 6. Awakening on 6 life is really strong against the aggressive decks in the format. Having that extra 5k boost to power is really good. The Vegito is more synergistic with our deck, which is why we play it over the Frieza as a 4 of, but the Frieza is good to just help. If there's a better 2-drop Unison, we may play that in the future, but as of right now, the Frieza, I believe, is the strongest. Taking a look at our Gotenks package, you can see down here we're playing 4 Gotenks Grim Reaper of Justice. That's your bread and butter Grim Reaper combo. It costs 2 to fuse with a Goten and a Trunks Youth. It draws 2, has dual attack deflect, so it comes down, and when it comes down it gets to kill an opponent's card, battle card, which is really strong because it helps deal with a lot of threats in the current meta. It can get rid of blockers, it can get rid of anything with barrier. It has no specified cost restriction on it, so it can kill a lot of things. We also play a one of the Gotenks All Out Assault because that card helps us deal with things with barrier as well as getting rid of Unison's markers if people are trying to use counterplays or the free play negates. We're only playing a 4-4 split between the Anniversary Box, Son Goten, and Trunks, and the Trunks from Set 11. The Trunks from Set 11 is better than the Goten, simply because the Trunks finds us a card from our top 7 as a Unison, just as an extra backup Unison or as charge fodder, and then the Goten and Trunks counts as both material pieces, but it is also really good on turn 1 if you do not have the Gokul or any other turn 1 play and you need to find that Unison for turn 2. And then the last part of that Gotenks package is this Gokul. The Gokul is the ideal turn 1 play, as most people who have played against the deck knows. It is a plus machine, adds your Gotenks, and then it adds the combo pieces to set up for that turn 3 Grim Reaper of Justice play that the deck aims for. Alongside the Gotenks package, we're playing the standard green package, which is 4 Dormant Potential Unleashed. We're playing the 4 Frieza counterplay, the Charismatic Villains, the 3 Shocking Death Ball, and a Cell Xeno. Most green decks will play some number of those cards. It rounds out the package really nice with the 3 Shocking Death Ball and Cell Xeno for a total of 12 of those cards in the deck. I think that's just the best number that you want to play. Dormant Potential Unleashed is still one of the best negates in the game, holding off attacks for multiple turns and being able to use it when you're tapped out on energy. I think it's great. And then we'll just go through some of the more supporting cards in the archetypes. We're playing 2 Cell Earth Destroying Kamehameha. This deck will have an extra energy up now and then, which is nice if you want to use the leader's ability to pressure Unisons or get more markers. But the Cell Kamehameha is really strong when you can use the Roshi Kamehameha Origins to loop it to get extra hand destruction, and it's a 1 mana 15k that negs your opponent a card. It's really solid and it always puts in work. This Tapion Fate of a Hero is actually one of the newest additions this deck has. It is, for those that don't know, it has an activate main for a green or a blue. If your leader card is green or a Phantom Demon card and you discard a card, or you discard this card, you get to either play a sealed music box at the end of turn, which our deck doesn't really want to do, or you get to draw a card and then play this card from your drop. So the Tapion's really good because on turn 1, if you have nothing better to do, or even later in the game, it's a 1 green energy 15k blocker that draws a card. That's good to hold off a lot of different attacks, and since it cycles, it lets us see through our deck a lot. I don't really want to see too many of them in a game because they're an awkward charge because they're green-blue, so that's why we only play 2. We have Zarbon Cosmic Elite just for the synergy that it has with a little bit of our hand disruption package, as well as our graveyard synergy, and it works really well with our Vegeta being able to give it revenge with its ability. It's a replayable blocking threat, and that's just why we play it. Like I said before, the Roshi Kamehameha Origins is a really strong card. It lets us take care of looping the Dormant Potential Unleashed, negates Cell Kamehamehas against the aggro decks, and out of the sideboard it lets us loop the Big Armor against the more high-end, heavy-cost decks. 2 Rebrand, Punishing Passion, it's just more hand disruption. You only really ever play 1 in a game, but you want to see 1 in your drop at some point, so that's why we play 2. For the super combos, we play a split between the Defending Father Paragus Draw super combo and the Jiro Progenitor of Terror super combo, which dumps a green or yellow battle card with a cost of 4 or less. Paragus is better in the late game, obviously, but there's tons of times in this deck where you want a 10k combo before you have to go down to 4 life because you awaken at such a high life total. And the Jiro is nice for being able to send your Zarbon, your Roshi, or your Ribrianne to the drop and just be able to get value out of them from there. The last generic card I want to talk about, outside of the secret rare, which everybody knows is great in the deck, is the Sun Gohan Hidden Might. Ever since it was released in the draft box, people have been really hyped on it for green decks, and I like it quite a bit, but with how much filtering this deck does, you're only ever going to play 1 in a game, so I only play it as a 2 of. It's really strong, it's a 5 cost card, but when your life is at 3 or less, it reduces its cost in your hand by 3. So basically it costs green, and you get a 25k double striker with Deflect, that when you play it, you get to kill an opponent's battle card ignoring barrier, or remove a marker from an opponent's unison. Being able to hit through barrier is really strong in this meta. There's plenty of threats that have barrier that you want to deal with, and it's just a kill spell, which can get rid of blockers on the opponent's field on the turn that you're going in for game. It is also a 5 cost, so it synergizes with the 5 and then the 6 from the Gotenks Grim Reaper of Justice, and the 1 mana Gokul if you do need to have the successor for the Cell Xeno. Looking at the sideboard, it's a generic spread at the moment. Once I am more sure of what a meta would look like for a tournament that I'm going to, I would tech specifically for it. But as of right now, we have the 3 max power Kamehamehas. This is a good card against Sin Shenron. We already have a decent Sin Shenron matchup because our Gotenks the auto will kill the opponent's battle card from the auto will kill the opponent's battle card when it's played, the Sin Shenron 9-drop. It'll get around that, even though it won't have the dual attack still for the turn we play it. But the Kamehameha is just a really good sideboard card. For the greater good is just respecting the green Gohan reboot players. It's 2 negates in 1. You have to split it up over 2 turns, but it's really solid against them. Shocking Deathball for some of the more aggro decks like Red-Green Launch, which plays the 2-drop Piccolo, which they really want to be able to use. The Shocking Deathball helps get it off the field. Mechicabra is really good against decks like Invoker or Dark Broly, where you need to have a Pithing Needle type effect for those who play Magic, where you declare a cost and a character name and your opponent can't play those cards. Against Dark Broly, you can say Dark Broly with a cost of 6, and it shuts off the majority of their deck for a turn. Against Invoker, you get to say like Son Goku with a cost of 5 to turn off the Rival Seeker effect, or whatever mana cost it is, I can't remember at the moment, but it's really good against that. Big Amour, just like I mentioned earlier, you can loop it with the Master Roshi Kamehameha Origins, stopping your opponent's battle card attacks with cost of 5 or more. Bardock Fully Unleashed helps deal with Dark Broly's board by choosing all opponent battle cards with cost of 6 or more and sending them to the warp. This card is also really good against the Bulma decks because they play the high-end Red Gogeta finishers and they can't be KO'd, which is the majority of how our deck deals with threats. The Bardock is able to warp them without a cost. The Bardock can also be subbed with the Mass Saiyan from set 10, which chooses up to 6 CMC or 6 energy cost to warp, but I like the Bardock a lot more, at least for the meta that I'm expecting to play against. And then lastly, a Fudark Banisher. This card is really good against the slower decks. Our deck puts a lot of cards in the drop, so it's not too hard to achieve that Overrealm restriction, but your opponent can't activate skills unless they choose a card in their hand and send it to the warp. He has triple attack, so he can get in for a lot of damage. If your opponent, who's on Dark Broly, attempts to use their Activate Battle ability on the leader to get a 5k boost for the battle, they have to warp a card, unlike the normal decks that can just combo with them, so this Fu is a really good card against them. Overall, that's the main gist of the deck list. Give me just a minute and I will go ahead and get into some untapped games to show you the power of this deck. Stay tuned. I just loaded into an untapped game. We're going to be testing out this green Gotenks deck that I showed you. And we'll take it for a spin, see what we're playing against, and then take a look at our mulligan decisions. So it looks like our opponent is playing the yellow Jiren leader from set 9. That leader is pretty solid. It stops him from taking damage. It is going to most likely be a successor deck or a yellow good stuff deck, so I will plan my mulligans accordingly. He won the die roll, so he's going to go first. Taking a look at our hand right off the bat, there's not really too much we want to keep here. The Giro is really nice if we want to pitch a card into our drop, as is this Gotenks, but we're really looking for a turn 1 play, so I'm going to send everything back. Against certain decks where I feel like I would need the Giro to stop early aggro, I would probably keep it, or the Gotenks to be able to have this turn 3 play with the Gotenks, I would keep it, but I'm not really sure what his deck is going to be trying to do, so I'm just going to mulligan for a standard 1 energy play. So I'll take my 6. It looks like we have the Goku and a Vegito Unison, which is perfect for what we want to do. We'll draw the 8 to the life, and we'll be good to go. So like I said, we'll be able to play this Goku on 1, find our Trunks, or our Gotenks Fusion, the Grim Reaper of Justice, to play on turn 3. Turn 2, we'll be able to play this Vegito Unison and get an Awaken off. And we'll see what we do from there. So we'll draw. Now this deck keeps a decent hand size, so I don't know how effective this Ribrianne will be, but if I ever have the extra energy, I'm going to hold on to it in my hand for that. So since we don't really need more than one Goku, I'm probably going to end up charging one. The Cell Kamehameha will be really nice for our turn 3, just to get some extra pressure on their hand. But I'm going to charge one Goku and play the other. And then, just a tip for all of you who are unaware, being able to use your search effects like this Goku most of the time are better than attacking with your leader first, because you get to thin your deck a little bit more, so you can find the cards that aren't necessarily tutorable, like your super combos or your secret rare. So we'll go ahead, we'll grab our Gotenks from the auto, shuffle up, add to hand, and then we'll attack his leader. Now, I'm not too worried about this leader because we're not necessarily an OTK deck. We'll draw for auto and leave it at just 10. We're not necessarily trying to kill in one turn. We're a grindy mid-range deck, so him being able to stop damage for a turn shouldn't be too much of an issue. We'll just work on controlling the board and go from there. So we'll pass and see what he does. He'll probably be able to put me to 6 this turn. His leader will most likely be attacking. No negates. He's swinging 10 at the leader. He'll take a life for his auto. And we'll see if he plays something. It looks like he is. So he'll play a 1-drop with its skills negated for the turn. So the Kunchi, which gives barrier. So it looks like he is just swinging 10. I'll take that. It's an easy take. We'll draw it. As of right now, he's played mono yellow stuff, which still means that he can do certain things. So he's going to activate this Lord Slug, play this Slug, which has Bond 2. You can only add cards from your deck to hand using leader skills. Okay, that seems like a pretty strong play, especially because the leader can free play easy cards. So he's swinging 20. I don't really need to stop any of this. I'll go ahead and take this hit, and I'm at 6 life now. So we'll see if he does anything else on his turn. Otherwise, I'm going to have to find a way to deal with this Slug. So he's playing this Slug to draw a card. So he doesn't have too many cards in hand, so I think the play that I'm going to go for this turn is to deal with this Slug Super Namekian. So we'll untap. We'll draw. I don't think It doesn't look like he's keeping that high of a hand size, so I may actually end up using this Ribrianne. I don't need all of these freezes, specifically because it looks like his deck has a lot of barrier threats. So we'll go ahead and we'll charge 1, and we'll play this Vegito Peerless Warrior. So I really need to get the Slug off the board if I want my Gotenks to be able to do its plays next turn. So we'll go ahead, we have to add 2 counters to this. We'll use my leader effect. We'll awaken. We're already at 6 life, so we don't take any life. So we'll just draw a card. Perfect. So I have my Trunks and my Goten, so I have my Gotenks play for next turn when I go for it. I also will have energy for this Frieza Charismatic Villain to be able to kill what he tries to go for. So looking at what I need to do, if I attack this Unison into the Slug, I can combo this Ribrianne up to 20 on this Vegito. He'll have to combo a card to protect it, which leaves him with 4 cards left in hand. Then when I attack with the Gotenks, I'll use my Cell Kamehameha to put it to 30 and discard a card from his hand, so the odds of him being able to combo out are very low. So we'll combo this up to 20. He'll really want to keep this, so he'll definitely combo a card off here. There's the 1. Okay. So he went up to 25. Perfect. So our Ribrianne's in the drop now, and now we get to attack our leader into the Slug. We'll use the auto to draw a card. And perfect. I drew Dormant Potential Unleashed, which means I get to have an anti-aggro play for the next turn. So now I get to play my Cell Kamehameha, and we'll take a card out of his hand. We'll pick this one. Cool, we got rid of a Bardock Ape, which was a really strong aggro play. So now we'll leave this at 30. So I don't necessarily need the draws on my turn because I can play around it, but that was just too much damage for him to deal with. Now I'm still at 6. We'll uptick my Vegito. We'll have the Frieza counterplays and the Dormants for his turn, and then we'll pass. We'll have to see what he does. If he goes into another one of those slugs, there is a chance that I don't Gotenks next turn, and instead I use my Roshi to loop the Cell Kamehameha or use Ribrianne to just force him to be starved for cards. But I don't think that's too likely. Looks like he's using the slug first. He's playing around. Yeah, so he is using the slug. He's playing around that Frieza or the Dormant Potential in my hand, which would have killed it. And this has barrier, so I can't Frieza counterplay that, which is fine. So now it looks like he's attempting to pressure this Vegito, which, trying to think, he'll go for the life and draw here, which means he'll go to 5 cards in hand. I don't really want to negate this with Dormant yet, but it might be my only option. No negates. We'll just leave it, see what happens. He'll resolve his auto, take a life, go up, and it goes to 15, so this will tick down. Next he'll probably swing the slug at it, and then he'll probably combo a Bardock Ape, which is perfectly fine with me, because if he does that, I have the Frieza Charismatic Villain for that. So he's swinging 20, I'll go down to 15. And now it's my turn. So because I want to get the most value out of this Gotenks, and like I said, I'm playing a more grindy mid-range play this turn, I'm not going to end up using the Gotenks Fusion this turn. We'll charge this Goten and Trunks just because it's extra. And I need to get this slug off the board. But let's start with a Ribrianne, Punishing Passion. See, he's also not pressuring my life total, so I'm still at a healthy 6. There's his discards. I wonder if he has another Mechicabra because he discarded it. So this is now in my warp. I can attack the slug with my leader. And I'll combo this Roshi to 20 just to be able to get it off the board. Auto will draw a card. So he kept the Jiren in his hand and discarded the Bergamo instead. Interesting. Don't know if that makes too much of a difference. We'll get rid of the Roshi here and combo up to 20. This way he has to throw another 5 at it. Trading 1-for-1 with the Gotenks deck, and in Dragon Ball in general, if you can trade one of your cards for one of their cards out of hand, it's usually pretty good, especially with these green decks. See, he had to throw a 10k combo at this to protect it. I only went up to 20, but he had to go up to 30 when he only had to go to 25. That tells me that I don't have to worry too much about what's in his hand. So knowing that, I think I'm going to attack this Vegito into this slug and just throw a naked Paragus on it. We'll see if he has any negates. It looks like he does. He has a Nimbus. Doesn't look like he's going to discard. So he has 1 card in hand and 3 energy and no real ways to pressure my life total. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable with where I'm standing. I'm going to uptick this Vegito to 4, and then we'll use my Gotenks' ability, my leader ability, to pay a green, and we'll discard a Frieza charismatic villain. Actually, I don't think I need this dormant potential at the moment. My life total is not getting pressured. We'll do that, and we'll put in these ghost tokens just to get some more pressure. So ghost token, we get 2 of them in play tapped. In rest mode, I should say. I play a lot of card games, so sometimes my terminology will be from other card games, and I don't intend it to be that way. So that's it for my turn. Let's see what he does. So he'll draw, he'll probably pick a charge, and because I've whittled down his hand so much, he does not have a lot of options. So he's not even charging. That is really good. That means we get the play back effectively, because we get to charge to 4 before he does. Now he's trying to get rid of some of these ghost tokens, which is perfectly fine with me. Take a life, draw a card. So now he does get to go back up to 4, but he is at 4 life, substantially lower than us, and if we can start whittling away, we will be able to protect it. So I don't need the ghost tokens that badly, so I'll let just this one die. He'll swing with the slug. I guess he doesn't have the Bond 2. I forgot about that. He needs the Bond 2 to stop the draw, so it really doesn't matter for me. I should have played this Gotenks last turn, maybe. It looks like he's just trying to get rid of some tokens at the moment. So we'll let this token die. He's not doing anything else, so we'll draw a card. That is really good. That means we get to take even more cards out of his hand and deal with this slug. We'll charge a Frieza. Or, we've seen how many of these? Let's charge this Trunks, because I can still always activate this Gokul to get the effect. And now our Vegito's at 4 counters instead of the 2 that you had to put it down the turn before. So this is going to tick up to 6, which means it's very close to using its minus ability. We'll take care of this slug first by attacking with our leader. It is kind of playing into the Nimbus, but I would rather get this draw first. So we'll draw a card. Shocking Death Ball is pretty solid, and we'll use this Cell Kamehameha. So we'll use this. We'll pick this card, and we're up to 30. Perfect. We hit it with his super combo, which is really good. It wouldn't have been able to really tap any of our threats, which is another reason why I wanted to attack with our leader first instead of this Vegito. And the Cell's Earth Destroying Kamehameha can only pump battle cards and leader cards. It can't pump unisons. All of the attack rares are like that. So he's going up to 30 to match me. There's 35. Alright. So he's going into that. That'll resolve. Counter window 2. I'll do my Frieza Charismatic Villain. Counterplay. And we'll be able to kill this Bardock. So he's tapping down my Gokul, which is perfectly fine. So we killed the Bardock. Now this Frieza's not doing anything in play. So we'll go ahead and we'll attack with this Vegito onto his battle card. And we'll combo this Frieza and go up to 20. Once again, we're just trying to outgrind his hand at the moment because we can recoup our value a lot better. Alright, so he went up to 25. So now he doesn't have Bond 2 because Bond requires you to have other battle cards in play. So I can go for this Gokul's effect to find the pieces for this Gotenks and then play the Gotenks and then draw 3 and have 25k dual attackers to deal with this slug. So we'll use Gokul's ability, place him in the drop area. What do you mean I can't? Bond requires other cards. Is it? Bond DBS. Let me make sure. I haven't played with Bond in a while. Okay, sure, he's got it. Okay, you're right. So he does have that Bond too. I was wrong on that. So this Gokul, I won't use its effect. So we'll untap this energy then. That makes things a little bit weirder. But I still have this Roshi to buy back the Cell Kamehameha. So my turn isn't a complete wash. So we'll get the Cell Kamehameha back. We'll warp this Roshi. And then we'll use my leader effect. I don't think I need this Shocking Death Ball unless he tries to kill this Gokul. Let's get rid of this Goten and Trunks and put in 2 more ghost tokens. That way we still keep our threats and we have a negate for when he tries to attack into this Gokul. Then we'll uptick our Unison and pass the turn. Yeah, sorry about messing up on that ruling. It's been a while since I've had to play with the Bond mechanic. I forgot that that's exactly how it works. So he charged to 4, which tells me that he probably is trying to use this Ape from his drop to draw 2. Yeah. Then he'll probably end up using an Awaken here. Sure, he's attacking a ghost token. So he put himself to 3 life, which means that we're in a pretty decent spot. Because I'm still at 6. You'll notice he hasn't pressured my life at all while I've kept tempo on him. And he can only use his leader's ability twice. So this ghost token is gone. That's fine. He can only use it to stop the aggro twice. So that's fine. Trading 2 attacks into these ghost tokens is good for us. He's playing 2. The Vegeta Unison. Now I can't really do anything about that. He's attacking my Unison. That's fine. The difference between 6 and 5 on this Unison, because I don't have one in hand, is negligible. So he'll go down to 5. So he minused it. So I can't attack with battle cards with cost greater than my current energy. So we have another Vegito. He doesn't have another Bardock, so I'm going to charge a Shocking Death Ball. I don't have Sparking online yet, which is unfortunate, because I kind of want my life to go down for this Paragus. I'm at 5 now, which means if I ever find Cell Xeno and can use my effects, I will be in a very good spot. So let's lead by attacking this slug. We'll draw. That Goku doesn't really do much. And because I need this slug off the board, I'm just going to play a Naked Paragus. I hit another super combo. I got really lucky. So I'm at 30 to 20, so he has to throw 5. I really want this off the board, so I'll get rid of a Paragus. 40. Okay, so there's a third super combo from him. So he's up to 30. He has to get to 45. And I can't kill this because it gives himself barrier. So he's taking a life to stop himself from taking damage and to find a card. So he needs one more. Perfect. So now I'll attack into the slug with this Vegito. And because he's already used 3 super combos, 1, 2, 3, that's why I'm not too worried about playing this Naked Paragus. So up to 25, but I really want this dead, so I'll throw Goku to make it 30. Perfect. So that's dead now. So now I get to use my Goku that's in play, send it to the drop, find my pieces, which is a Goten and Trunks, and a Trunks, and then I can't attack with cards greater than my current energy due to this Vegeta's effect. So I won't be able to attack with this Gotenks. However, you saw me add it, you know I have it. So we'll play the Gotenks, discard these 2, and we'll use these to draw 3. Perfect, really good draws. And then we'll use my Trunks auto to check the top 7 to add a Unison to hand. So we have this Vegito. And there's still Cell Xeno in our deck. So this Vegito will get added to our hand. So I can't attack, like I said. Can't play this Zarbon. However, I can use my Gotenks ability, discarding this Roshi to play Ghost tokens. We'll clone it. We'll uptick my Vegito Unison, and then we'll pass the turn. So I'm in a really good spot. Like you've seen, I've just been out mid-ranging him, answering his threats when he plays them, and trading card advantage for card advantage. I've been trading 1 or 2 cards for multiple of his cards every single time I make a play. Now I still have a healthy hand size and options to do on my turn. So he's still trying to get rid of these ghost tokens, which tells me that he is scared of losing to aggro, which is weird because he can still use his leader's ability. So, ghost token's gone. We'll see what he tries to do next. He has 4 energy to work with. He could theoretically play the Mechicabra because I know he plays them in his deck. And if he takes my Grim Reaper, it would be unfortunate, but I don't think it's the end of the world. So I can't, unfortunately, stop that attack. So this will tick down to 6 counters. But I can always tuck this Vegito under it on my next turn and then minus it. And that'll get rid of, it'll crit him a life and he'll have to discard 3 cards, which means he'll go down to 1 life and I will be able to kill him. So he's tapping out 3 for the Anguilla, and now this is where I have my counterplay. So we'll play this, and I get to kill the Anguilla. Yeah. He put it in the grave too quick. So now that pretty much all but guarantees my win, because I get to take all 3 cards out of his hand and crit him a life next turn. Sure. Yeah, so we'll just play this slow. I have a Cell Xeno, which is... I could still go for that, but I don't think I will. So we'll lead by tucking this Vegito under here. And then we'll -7. And see, this Vegito, I had the same one in play all game, as you've seen. So now I get to... I was able to protect it all game and pull off this ultimate to crit him a life and then make him discard 3. So now he has no cards in hand, 1 life. I kill him with any of my attacks. We'll send the GG, and we saw how that would have worked. I still had another Vegito to play. I had a Zarbon blocker, and I had this Dr. Giro that could have comboed to send a Ribrianne back to the grave to mess with his hand. As you can see, this deck has a lot of potential. That's not necessarily playing against one of the meta decks at the moment, so it might not be the best test of skill, but you can see that that Green Gotenks can grind and play with the best decks. It can go 1-for-1 trades, it can apply pressure, and it can protect just with the generic green package. I hope you liked this gameplay, I hope you liked this deck tech, and if you want to see more things, stay tuned to the Card Guys in the future. Thanks.